Sit. This is Cedric. This is Cedric's bed. Cedric likes to resource guard. In this video, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that resource guards. Now, resource guarding, a real quick note, is not considered aggression because once you remove the object, the aggression goes away. And basically, this is, it has no indication of whether your dog is well trained or behaved. Any dog can get it and then get it later in life. It's not an indication of anything. So one of the worst things you can do if you have a dog that resource guards is physically take things away from them. That really validates. Resource guarding is an insecurity thinking that you're going to steal the dog's things. And the more that you take things away from the dog, the more the dog feels validated. So now if I have this, well, I'll just use this right here, whatever this is. So if I have this, it's mine. I have possession of it. If Cedric has this, it's his. He has possession of it. If I have it and he's chewing on it, it's ours. We both have possession of it. So if your dog has an object by itself and you go to try to take it, and anytime you snatch it, like I said, you're validating. So what we want to do is teach your dog a drop command. So a drop command, and I'll get to this in a sec, but a drop command is just super duper simple. When the dog has an object in its mouth that is a low value item that they do not guard, we want to teach them and help them practice dropping that item. So what we do is when he has something exclusively in his mouth, we walk over, hold this here, and then and he'll try to take it with the object in his mouth. Wait, and don't give him any commands. As soon as he drops it, pop the treat in his mouth, say the word drop, and then don't show any interest in the item. And after a while, the dog's like, okay, so drop means I drop what I got, you give me something better than I got, and I get my original stuff back. That's a pretty good deal. And so you want to start shaping that behavior with low value items. If he has a bully stick or the dog bed or whatever it is that he feels is a high value item, he's not going to be willing to drop it. So you want to do it in the easiest version possible. Okay, so now we'll let him kind of get into this. He just started to do this right before we started filming. That's why I said let's start filming. You want to get this, buddy? I don't necessarily have to see him guarding, but what he did is he starts humping, and he's really hugging it, and that's about a precursor to start humping it. And that's kind of multiple reasons for it, but he's showing it who's boss or puts his scent on it or whatever the case may be. But if you go over and try to take it from him, now he thinks you're trying to steal his stuff. So come over here, buddy. It's better if you're actually sitting on the dog bed. How about that? Sit. Sit. So let's say that he's on it and he is guarding it. Well, if I approach him, you're going to eventually, when I approach him, eventually, at first he's going to kind of freeze, and then it'll get more and more animated the closer you get to it. So what you want him to do is you want to take note. So I'm going to, let me pantomime a little bit. Let's say I'm over here and I'm walking, let's say he's on the dog bed. When I get to this point at the end of this table, just for demonstration purposes, let's say he freezes. That's his indication that you're starting to get into the zone that I'm uncomfortable with. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure, I'm not backlit, am I?
No.
Okay. And so what I want to do is I want to make sure that the dog, that I don't push it too far. We don't want the dog to react. So if this is the point where he starts freezing, he's not growling yet, then what I would do is I'd turn and walk away even further. Then I would come back and I would stop about a foot away from this and throw a treat onto the dog bed or whatever the object is. And then I'm going to walk around and just keep the camera there. And I'm walking from a different angle. Now I'm going to approach from this angle and throw a treat towards the dog bed. And then I would approach from that angle and this angle. The idea is, so you take note, like when you're at 10 feet, that's when he starts feeling you're getting to be a threat. So we start at 11 feet and we approach from all these different angles, throwing a treat down there until after he seems nice and relaxed. Then we try again going to 10 feet. And if he stays nice and relaxed, we throw a treat from there and then do it from all the different angles again. And then eventually we get to 9 feet, 8 feet, 7 feet, 6 feet. And eventually get to the point where he's got it and he's humping it. And you come over here and you're this close and he's not growling or doing anything because, again, you're not taking the object from him. You're making his situation better. I appreciate you not jumping up on me. Now, they can do it like I mentioned this off camera. They can resource guard a person, place, or a thing. So, and sometimes several of them. So he also does this with that whole area right there with the gate is closed. Yeah. So when he's in there, if people approach, he starts growling. So that would be another opportunity, and that one's even easier because there's a fence there, so we can a baby gate. Just watch, approach, and toss a treat and walk away. And then the next person walks up, and then you get closer and closer and closer to the point where you're just right next to it, and he's fine. And then when he's here, if he is humping this thing, you try to hump it a little bit. You know, you just won't do it on camera. They say you don't want to work with animals or kids in TV. So basically, when you get to the point where he is humping, you come over here and tell him to sit. Sit. Notice I only said it once. If I say sit, 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 I'm just watering down my authority. But again, if he's reacting at all, you don't want to approach because that's going to validate his concern. And so make a list of all the things that your dog resource guards and get closer and closer and closer. The nice thing is with this approach, eventually he just doesn't care if you're there. Now the humping is probably indicative of something different, and so we're going to talk about rules of structure and things like that off camera. But this is really, this technique is from a book by Jean Donaldson, who's a really world-renowned dog behavior expert, and her book is called Mine, M-I-N-E with an exclamation point. I'm giving a very, very condensed version of it, but that's the approach. And I've used it for hundreds of dogs. Never had a dog that wasn't able to get over their resource guarding. All right, come here, buddy. Why have I forgotten your name?
Cedrick.
Cedrick, the entertainer. This is Cedrick. This is Cedrick's dog bed that he's not humping or resource guarding right now. These are tips and tricks you can use if your dog does like to resource guard a person, place, or thing.